Hi, Rick Rafters here from the Wedderburn Lions Club. This presentation is a repeat of the one that was given to the Inglewood District Health Services by the Wedderburn Lions Club Aged Care Subcommittee in support of getting an aged care facility here in Wedderburn. The reason for the representation is simply so to let the public know and the community of Wedderburn know what the Lions Club has found out about the need for an aged care facility and what we might be able to do to get one here, and also the arguments that we've put forward. So let's have a look at what we found out. So first of all, one of the things is that we focused on the issue that people were living in the town. They've been a part of the community for a very long time, and if people had to leave the town to go into care and leave their community, that this could have considerable impact upon their mental health, and also impact on all sorts of other things, like partners being able to get to visit them, not knowing how far they might have to go to get into an aged care facility, etc. So Gabrielle Chan wrote a book called Rusted Off, and this is a quote from her book, and she says that these days she understands how Aborigines feel, or Indigenous people feel, about their land, because that same feeling was within me all my life about this place. So she also says that there's no confidence that government understands place and the significance of living in a community. As a result, there is an inadequate consideration by governments of politicians of the effective policy templates on rural areas. So that's what Gabriel says. So place is something that is just as significant to people that have lived in a community for all their life, and what the impact is on having to leave that place. Wedderburn has no aged care facility, of course, and according to the 2016 census, Wedderburn has a population of 941, and 40% of those people, 371 people, were over 60 years of age. All these people will have to leave town when the time comes if there is no facility. Now, when we talk about when the time comes, that means that whilst people will prefer to age in place in their own homes for as long as possible, there can come a time, sooner or later, when they can no longer look after themselves and need that assistance in their final years. The source of the data here is on the website that you can see there below. So just looking at that in a slide type or a table form, you can see there that there is 371 people, 40% over 60 years of age, and this is 2016. So now in 2019, a lot of those people may well have moved into the 50 to 59 year olds, I should say, will have moved into the over 60 years old. So we could well have over 50% of our population in the town over 60 years of age. So the Wedderburn Lions has been fighting for aged care for several years now. The movement originally started back in 2004, and there's several issues facing the Lions. First of all, the Lions is a service club, and we don't have the industry or the financial expertise to apply for bed licences. The aged care situation seems to be a dance between the state and the federal governments, and it's a matter of knowing how to move in both areas, and we're just not experts at that. We don't have a provider to make the application for the bed licences. We've previously had 2 interested providers in doing that, and it's gone no further. The last interested provider actually sold her facilities to the Freemasons, and the Freemasons weren't interested in establishing a facility in Wedderburn because they just regarded it as being too small. That was the information that we got. So the lady who was interested previously, she actually applied for 30 bed licences in the 2014-15 round of licence applications, but unfortunately was unsuccessful. So we don't have someone to operate this facility, even if we obtain the bed licences and funding to proceed. So the Lions, once again, not trained in looking after aged care people. So all we can do is to advocate the need for an aged care facility in Wedderburn and raise money to put towards the project. So this presentation, and this point was made very strongly to the Inglewood District Health Service, it's not about the financial sustainability of an aged care facility for Wedderburn. We don't have the expertise to make such representations. That needs to be done by somebody who has that expertise. We do, however, keep being told that a small facility is not sustainable. However, we have found out that there is a facility called the Grace Munro Centre in Bundara, New South Wales, up in northwest New South Wales, up near Glen Innes and Inverell. It was slated for closure in 2009 after the private care provider regarded it as being unviable from a financial perspective. Now, the community fundraised and negotiated to purchase the facility themselves, and they ran it independently. And since becoming a fully accredited independent care home, it has turned a profit every year. Now, that facility has 11 beds. 11 beds. So there's a link there for the to the ABC story about that, and also it's mentioned in Gabriel Chan's book Rusted Off again. So our presentation is about winning the hearts and minds of the board of Inglewood District Health Service. We want them to believe in the need for having that facility here in Wedderburn, and we hope that we can work together, Wedderburn Lions and the IDHS as a community, to achieve the best for our elderly. In the past, we feel that there possibly has been often a lot of parochialism exists between small towns, and we now need to work together to get the best of the limited resources that are available. Now, there are a number of seeming inequities with regard to aged care, and this image here is showing you a map of the northwest of the state and the locations where there are a number of beds, and also the population of those centres. And that information comes from those websites that are mentioned there. You can go and look them up for yourself should you choose to do so. So it's a bit difficult to see from the map. So if we have a look at it in a table form, we can see that from a population of 477 in Jeparat that has 15 beds, to Maldon, which has 1,263 in population and 28 beds, there is quite a number of other towns in between that have facilities and also have beds. So that's between, say, 500 in population and 1,300 in population. If you have a look at the table, you can see that Wedderburn is the third highest in population and has no beds, none whatsoever. And yet you have a look at Nadimuk, the second from the top, with a population of 514, and they have 41 beds. Quite remarkable. One has to wonder what their occupancy rate is like there. So that gives us indication that our community is missing out on having an aged care facility. Another thing that's important is the sustainability of Wedderburn as a town itself. An aged care facility will bring jobs to our town, no question about that. Obviously, it requires nursing and certificate 4 or personal care assistants, certificate 3s as well. Cleaners, admin staff, gardeners, all sorts of things. So it could also increase population because people may feel comfortable moving here to Wedderburn, knowing that once they can no longer live in their own home, that there's an aged care facility that they can move into. And every dollar that's generated in an economy generally goes around 3 times. So that is well worthwhile from a sustainability perspective. So, having that facility here could well increase property prices and contribute to the microeconomy of the town. So Wedderburn and Lions' contribution. Lions has already obtained the council approval to grant land next to the Wedderburn Community Centre for an aged care facility. Lions has also committed 20% of its earnings towards the facility, and that amount currently stands at almost $23,000 and is going up all the time with every fundraiser that Lions is involved in. We also have every confidence that the Wedderburn community will pledge money towards a facility of this nature, because we are well aware of the feeling within the community And we're also well aware of the amount of money that was pledged in order to try and re-establish a bank here in the past, which unfortunately was not successful. So we said to IDHS, well, what's in it for you? Well, ultimately that's up for them to decide. But Lions feel that there are some benefits to IDHS, that they will have a closer working relationship with Wedderburn, and it assists in building the bonds between our two communities. A larger facility with a Wedderburn aged care facility annexed to IDHS Inglewood would mean more employment in Inglewood and food preparation and admin, increased property prices, and increased property prices could well increase the levels of bonds available and the interest on the bonds if they are placed in the account goes towards the running of the facilities. More retirees would eventually require beds, and the economies of scale achieved with medical staff, laundry and food preparation as well. So they're just a few of the things that we thought that were of benefit to IDHS in assisting or as established the facility or coming on board as a strategic partner. So in closing, we just asked them, particularly the Wedderburn Lions, would like IDHS to partner with them in developing a sustainable model for an aged care facility in Wedderburn. Will you join us? We certainly asked them to join us, and we look forward to working with IDHS to come up with a sustainable model. And that is the end of the presentation that we provided to IDHS. Just some photos of some of our aged population in Wedderburn. But by all means, you can find that we have a Facebook page for the aged care facility. Links will be on a slide at the end. And also follow on the Wedderburn Lions page what's going on also. And we're trying to get this information out there and get the support from the community behind us as much as possible. Thank you for listening.